The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle. I'm here today with Jim and Kelly Logan. Jim's a triathlete. Jim's got a cancer diagnosis that he is grappling with. They've been married for a real long time, and they are here to talk to us about how they make it work. I have questions about what endurance sports has to teach us about a relationship. And as much as I tried to ask them, I ended up getting an inspirational talk about cancer and tragedy and challenges. We compare notes about writing books and just kind of what that is. Jim's got a book out right now, Just Keep Trying, which you can find on Amazon. All of the proceeds go to the Ironman Foundation, which is very cool. I think that's awesome. He's trying to raise $100,000 before the Ironman in Kona in October. So if you're interested in Ironman, if you're interested in supporting those kinds of causes, then check out the book. And then if you're like, I don't know if I'm interested, you can listen to this interview. I did not tell Jim my triathlon story, mostly because, I mean, what am I going to do? Compare notes with a professional triathlete? But I have done one triathlon in my life. I am a very good swimmer. I swim quite a bit in the summer, and I like to swim in open water. And I have, escaped from Alcatraz 5 times, which has been cool. And I do all my lap swimming in the summer. Last summer I did 3 marathons. Anyway, so I did this triathlon. And this was maybe 10, 15 years ago. I do this triathlon and I'm crushing it. I train. It's a sprint. It's not a long one. So I do train. I do some running. I do some biking. I've played soccer my whole life. So I know how to run. And I did some biking, just to kind of make sure that I think I borrowed a friend's bike or something. I wasn't too worried about the bike, and in my 20s, I ran a couple of marathons. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a great swimmer. I've run a couple of marathons, and how hard can riding a bike be? Well, anyway, I do the swim. I crush it. I'm amazing. I get out of the water. I'm in like the top 10%, and I know it. I know it because the wave that I was in started in the back of this crowd. And then by the time I got to the bikes, there were still so many bikes there because I had just done this, amazing swim. Then I get on my bike and I start going. And I spend the next 2 legs of this race getting passed by nearly everyone. Any shape, any size, any age. I feel like I had one of those motorized wheelchairs pass me on the biking. I had children passing me. I felt like it was in one of those sitcoms where, you're just kind of going up the hill and everybody and, their grandmothers are passing you, whatever. And it was devastating. It was humiliating. I went from this super duper high of, crushing this triathlon to by the time I finished the run, I was ready to die in a pile. And I was like, no, it was clear. I was never doing another triathlon. I will do like a relay. If I can be somebody's swimmer and somebody else is biking and somebody else is running, I would love to be part of a team, but that actually doesn't really feel like a triathlon, but whatever. Anyway, I did not tell Jim that story. I told you that story. And now I suppose if Jim listens to this, he will also hear it. But I don't know. There's a life lesson in there somewhere. There are life lessons throughout this episode. I think you will enjoy it. Jim and Kelly have weathered a lot, and they've learned a lot along the way. This is a very cool conversation. Stick around. I have so many questions about both cancer and Ironman training because you're not training for the first one. You've done these before.
My whole life, it's decades of, I call myself a lifelong endurance enthusiast, athlete. So I've always pursued little races, and they just got bigger and bigger over time. And as my son grew up and we got a little bit older and I found more time, I just kind of leaned more into the longer and longer races. I just find something in it that's enjoyable for me. It's a great way to fill my time. I enjoy the suffering and the pain. As I like to say, there's joy in pain and there's meaning in the suffering. And that's where all the good stuff happens. So you begin to seek it out.
Well, I have more questions, but I want to come back to like our show, which is about the two of you. So you've got this endurance energy or endurance passion, and you get bigger and bigger races. It's got to take up more and more time, right? Yeah. And then you've got cancer, and that's got to take up a lot of your mental bandwidth and emotional space. So you got these two massive commitments, whether you chose them or not.
Yeah.
How does that play for the two of you, Kelly? What is it like being in relationship with somebody who's committed to two other things in a really powerful way? Is that a strength? Is that a challenge? Like, how do you gauge that?
Absolutely. So we are both entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. I've always had my own business, and so has he. So it's something that this has actually brought us closer to have a focus for him, knowing that this is an unbelievable opportunity for him to even be a part of Ironman Championship. I mean, you can't even get a ticket. It was crazy how that ended up. So we just focused, and we do every day, on his training, his health. It really kind of revolves around him. My son's very involved. He does small triathlons with Jim, different series, sprint triathlons. So it's really a family affair. And it has been, even before cancer. We used to take racecations.
Okay.
Wherever he ended up. We've been to Texas twice, Florida, Chattanooga 7, 8 different times. So it's always been that way. He's been, competing for 30 years. So nothing has really changed for us as far as that. Now more of the focus is just getting him to Kona. So between now and October 10th, that's our main focus. So whatever we can do to support him, make sure he's got protein in the house, protein shakes, but I think it's actually brought us closer.
Okay.
Because I'm in real estate at a high level. I was compliance officer for the state of Georgia.
Okay.
So I had, 85 agents that I managed besides doing my own business. So, with the training and everything that he's been doing, it's something we're so used to. It's not anything new.
Yeah.
I don't think it takes away, like I do a lot of training work, but we both kind of work out of the house. And it's kind of funny because I decided to retire from home inspection after 30 years. And I told Kelly, I was like, I need more time to do these things that I want to do. And as it turns out, you'll still only get 24 hours in a day. So I didn't get more time. That didn't work out. But I'm busier now than I've ever been. But I'm home all the time at the same time. And when it comes to cancer, I pretty much ignore it. I don't focus on it. I try not to think about it. I let the doctors worry about that.
Huh. Oh, I guess I'm thinking about, and maybe you're tapping into something that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm thinking about how all of these things take up so much time. Maybe that's not the space that the two of you use to connect. Time, hours in the day. Maybe it's more of a spiritual connection, or maybe it's more of a missional connection or something. Because I know there's people out there going, wait, you don't what do you do? How do you do together?
Just to give you for instance, today's training is 2 hours. It was an hour of running this morning, an hour of swimming later. So it's not like it takes up the whole day. There are some days that are longer than others. Yeah. But it's not as time consuming as you would think, especially like when I had a full-time job. Yeah. That was different. Yeah. Because then the limited time that you have, it's a problem in the Ironman world. It destroys a lot of relationships. Yeah. And it's a common thing in the Ironman world. But since I retired, my focus has been narrowed to train for the, arrive alive in Kona with enough fitness to finish in under 17 hours, promote the book that I wrote, and raise money for the Ironman Foundation, which the profits from the book go to the Ironman Foundation until we reach that fundraising goal. So this is what gives me a reason to get up in the morning. It gives me a purpose, a meaning, a reason to live, as opposed to thinking about dying all the time, which I don't do. Once I stop worrying about dying, then I can really focus on how I want to spend the time I have left. And Kelly's on board 100%. Just like I would be for her if she was on the other foot.
It's also like today, for instance, if he goes for a swim, I've been going down, taking my lawn chair and getting some sun.
Yeah.
So I'm with him. And then also the Tour de France is on, Tour de France, and we love it. We've watched it for 30 years. So it's something that after our work, training, then we'll sit and watch it. And it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thankful for the Ironman training because we spend an enormous amount of time together. So much so that sometimes it's nice to have a little time of your own. So it hasn't really, and even the cancer treatments, I just did my 25th round of chemo on Monday. And, it's a couple hours at the chemo center. But other than that, I go about my life. I've become accustomed to the side effects and the things that come along with it. So, I just got used to living with it, and I've gotten better and better at it. The first 6 months were pretty hard. And but after that, I kind of adjusted. So now I'm a savvy old veteran.
Right. And he does really good with chemo, surprisingly. He's never been sick as far as really being ill. There are times where he's extremely tired, but he's really handled chemo very well. Yeah. So we're very lucky there.
You get two choices when your lifespan is suddenly shortened.
Yeah.
You can go into despair and depression. Or in my case, I hit the gas. I'm like, I've got a short amount of time. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
And mostly I'm just living a life of service now, charity. I wrote the book hopefully to help people. As I entered the cancer world, I saw a lot of despair, a lot of depression, a lot of hopelessness. And I thought the book could lift some people up. And so far, I've gotten some good reviews, and the book's doing pretty well. So that also gave me 13 months or so to focus on something other than cancer.
Yeah.
And I wrote the book to help other people, but it ended up being therapy for me because I took my whole life and my philosophies and my approaches and put it into a book, which was organized beginning, middle, end, and it was really a wonderful experience for me, having never written anything or been any kind of an author previously. I'm pretty proud of the work that I put out. So
I love that. I just finished a book of my own, and I don't know if you had this experience, but the guy who started writing the book last October is not the guy who finished writing the book in May, I guess. So it's a transformative, like the writing is a transformative process. Yeah. When I think about it, I guess what I would want to know is, I hear you talk about cancer, and I hear how amazing your sort of personality or maybe your approach is. Do you think people who don't have the same kind of hardwiring as you can achieve the same relationship with cancer? Say ignore it or let the doctors do it. Like how would you tell them to do that?
Optimism is a choice, and it's not. I think some people are born more optimistic than others. I definitely am, but it's something you can work on. It's kind of like a muscle. Like discipline is you don't just have discipline and then you're done. It's something you have to refresh and renew on a daily basis and work at it. So I'm the guy you're looking at today is not the guy that got diagnosed in the first week of April 2024. Yeah. I was devastated. It took me some time to come to these realizations, and the realization that I came to is that cancer is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's also the best thing that's ever happened to me. So many things have happened in the last 27 months that I'm happy about. I'm happier now doing what I'm doing now than I ever have been. Relationships are better and deeper, and when I die, there'll be no questions. Because I will have had all those conversations with all the people that matter the most, and that's the realization that I came to, is that it's really the only thing that matters is your relationships, the people you spend your time with. Everything else is just a game, Monopoly, houses, cars, business. It's, you can't take it with you when you go. So the other thing that I thought was kind of funny is, the doctor had told me I was terminal, and I didn't like that word. It's defined as the end. Here we are 27 months later. It wasn't the end. It was the beginning. It was the beginning of so many things. And I think the essence of life, the key to life, is to take tragedy and turn it into triumph, to figure out a way, no matter what happens, find the meaning in it, find the lessons in it, learn from it, and then go share it with other people. And that's why I'm so happy right now. And I wouldn't trade my cancer diagnosis to go back to the way I was, because as I look back, I was living a life of complacency, having achieved some success. I just wasn't utilizing my potential, my God-given gifts to my fullest. So I'm happy for many, many reasons. And, I don't worry about cancer. I let cancer do whatever it wants to do. As I told Kelly, cancer has my body, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'll do what the doctors tell me to. But cancer can't have my heart because I gave that to Kelly. Cancer can't have my mind because it belongs to me. And cancer can't have my soul because I gave that to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So heart, mind, and soul against cancer, so far I'm winning.
Right on. And Kelly, you're nodding. You're like, yep, I'm bought in. I'm on board with this process.
Yeah, so a little different for us, I think, is Jim was already a triathlete. He was already an Ironman for 30 years. So he was used to, starting January and looking at the whole calendar and putting in his 10 events that he ran every year. So when he got diagnosed, that's exactly what he did. A few weeks later is he got on, the computer and set up all of his races that he does throughout the whole year. And I think it's good therapy for him that instead of focusing on the cancer, he's focusing on himself and what's normal. I think that's the main goal when you have cancer is the normalcy in your life. Is to keep it normal.
And you don't want people to treat you differently.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. You get cancer and some people, they just don't know how to talk to you anymore. like something different happened. It's like, it's not contagious. You don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean?
His oncologist told us that. Keep it as normal as possible. He had a business for 30 years. Very, very, very.
I worked that for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Again, just to kind of keep the normalcy. But then at some point I realized, I don't want to do that anymore. I did it for 30 years. I did 15,000 inspections. I think I did enough, and now I'm on this other path. Like I said, writing the book was real therapy for me, and now sharing it with people has been fantastic as well. So, I'm doing these podcasts all over the place, and I'm speaking publicly around town at Rotary clubs and other things, and, raising money for the Ironman Foundation, which is the charitable wing of the Ironman. They were kind enough to let me into their race, which is super hard to get into. The World Championship in the birthplace of Ironman is Kona, Hawaii. 2,500 athletes, half are women and 10% are pros. So, about 1,150 men from around the world trying to get into this thing. So it's an honor, and I'm thrilled to even have the opportunity. When I was invited July of 25, I didn't even know if I'd be alive. And now here we are, no evidence of disease, 95 days away. It looks like I'll at least arrive alive. We'll see if I have the fitness, because the hardest part with the working out and the training is recovery. I can do the workouts.
Yeah.
Recovery is another thing. So, I just had 8 weeks off of chemo, thank God. Just had my most recent surgery 4 weeks ago, and I'm fully recovered from that. So, it's all systems go. So
here we go.
Yeah. And then everybody's on board. Like I said, Kelly's on board. These things have brought us closer together. And over 30 years, we've been through everything that a 30-year marriage can be through. And I developed another thought through this process is I think early on in a relationship, in a marriage, and I don't know how we got where we got. We never thought about it. We just kind of made our way through. But looking back on it, I think people fall deeply in love at first, and then you fall widely in love over time. Over time, if you build that wide base, nothing can knock it over. But in the beginning, when you're only 5 years in and the love is deep but not wide, it's easy for people to walk away or for it to be destroyed. We're so deep into this now, the base, the foundation is so wide and so solid that there's nothing that can come between us at this point. And that's been another great gift that cancer gave me, was the opportunity to remind my wife how much I love her, how special she is. I said one thing I joke about is I wake her up every morning now and remind her how lucky she is to be married to me.
Let me ask you about two sort of metaphors that have to do with this idea of like a marriage and endurance. But like, do you think about marriage as an endurance sport? Like, how people will say marriage is a marathon, not a sprint. Like, how do you have your own point of view on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a marathon. And if anyone who's been married for a very long time will know that, the honeymoon wears off. It's not all good times. It's not all fun times. And I think true love is tested in the valleys, not the peaks.
Absolutely.
And we've been through several valleys and we've gotten through each one. There's been times where we've drifted apart for various reasons, whether it's business or training or children, or we have one son, or any number of things. But we always come back together. Like I said, with nothing that we have good communication as well. We're also very compatible. We're good friends, and I think
We
that's
actually
really
like
important
each
as
other.
well. Yeah,
That helps. That helps a lot.
Completely different on a lot of levels. Like Kelly's approach to things is different than mine, but somehow it works together. So,
Is there some like core endurance sport principle that you would bring right over into a marriage space? Like, I don't know, something about hitting the wall, or I don't know. Like, but as you think about like the direct line between training for an endurance sport or being an Ironman is a metaphor for marriage in this way.
I would say that in that case, it would be the discipline that I apply to training. And the thing that I think the sin that I committed or the mistake that I made over time was complacency. And it's easy to become complacent in many ways, whether it's your life, your personal, your business, but in your relationship after 30 years, maybe you don't do the things you once did or say the things you once said. I'm a pretty good communicator. We have pretty good communication, and we've always had a clean slate philosophy. So if there's an issue that we have, the first thing I do is look to see what I did to create it and if there's anything I can do to fix it. So I look at myself first. But then beyond that, once we resolve the issue, it's a clean slate. We don't go back to it. We fix it and move on, and you don't get to come back a month later and revisit. So difficult philosophy, easy to understand, difficult to employ, especially in the case of, something like infidelity, which we don't have that issue. But to forgive is one thing. To forget is another. If you're going to forgive somebody, you also have to forget and start over fresh and give them that opportunity, give yourself that opportunity to be happy. Because if you're carrying around all that stuff, it's going to come out eventually. So,
right on.
The discipline that I applied in training is something that I probably should have been better at in the relationship, because I think just like discipline, relationships require daily renewal to keep things right. Because you drift a little bit each day, and one day you wake up and you're so far apart, you don't even know who the other person is. So, fortunately, we don't have traveling jobs. So like I said, throughout our 30 years, we spend an enormous amount of time together. We're both in the real estate business. So I'll go to her sales meetings, and all of her people know me and all of my people know her. So,
but you're retired. You don't have to
now I have more
anymore.
time. Yeah. I get, I used to say, I said I work 25/7, and people would say, how do you do that? I was like, well, I'll let you in on the secret is I don't take lunch.
There you go.
So I get that extra hour every day.
Okay, here's my second little metaphor question. I have this theory that there's a difference between training to race and racing to train. Do you stay in a position of I'm healthy so that if a race comes up, I can compete, or do you pick a race and go, that's the thing I'm training for, that's my target? And those are different ways of being on the planet. I'm wondering if you two are the same or you're different, or how you think about that.
We're so different in this area because I'm more of I said in January, I set up my year. I pick 10 races, and everything I do revolves around that. So I have to answer that question. There's a difference between training and working out. Difference between working out and training. Training has a purpose. Every session I do is a building block for a larger goal.
Okay.
Whereas if someone goes to the gym and works out and just, does whatever they want, it's good fitness, but you're not working towards something. So I train to race. And the race is the coronation for the training. So one of the questions I've been asked frequently throughout my decades is why you do Ironman. Never really had a good answer until cancer. And it used to be about the finish line. That's the whole thing, was the finish line. Once I got cancer, it became about the start line. I just wanted to get to the start line and get one more shot. And then I realized after writing the book that it's much deeper than that. If you have a 10-month training program with 4 weeks in a month, that's 40 weeks, and 10 training sessions a week, that's 400 training sessions. So you have 10 months, 40 weeks, 400 training sessions that lead up to one day of racing. Are you telling me that one day is more important than the 10 months? The 10 months is what it's about. It's the day-to-day discipline. It's just kind of how I live my life. Kelly's more artistic, where she's more of a creative butterfly, so she doesn't necessarily have to schedule things or put things on the calendar like I do. I have this, it's just in me that I'm always chasing after something, whatever it is, and a little bit of an extreme personality. So
A little
Like
bit.
when I decided to write a book, I mean, I'd never written a book, and I had no idea how to get to Kona. Almost on my deathbed, I went to Kelly and said, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to go to Kona. And sure enough, both things are happening. So once I decided to write the book, I was all in for 13 months. And that's kind of how I am.
Yeah.
I know that could be difficult to live with.
Are you like, hang on, cancer, I'm not done with this thing. I'll let you know when I finish the book. And
I feel like I'm outrunning cancer.
Renegotiate.
Yeah, I feel like I'm outrunning cancer. Cancer's slow, can't catch me.
Hold my beer.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
I had noticed in your bio, you mentioned being happily married for 23 out of 24 years. I always joke that I've been happily married for 30 years and Kelly's been happily married for 25.
Yeah.
Because of my extreme nature, once I get locked on something, I really have trouble letting off of it. I go all in, even if it's not necessarily, going to work out for the better. So, but that's my nature. So,
but I think we both came into this marriage. We were a little older, and I had already been on my own in my own business. Jim was in his own business. So we came into this marriage 100% and 100%. So we're severely independent to a degree, but that's why it works out for us, because it's not like there's anything that, I don't know, some marriages, it's like, if he wants to do something, I've never told him, no, you can't do it, or I'm not going to let you do it.
You don't have a lot of jealousy.
It's always...
I always say it was love at first sight. When I met Kelly, we just kind of came together like when you put the two magnets in the right direction and they click together.
Yeah.
It was on from the beginning. There was no question about it. We each felt the same way. And, it's been a pleasure. I said I spent half my life with Kelly. And when I look back, I'm pretty proud of everything that we've done together and everything that we got through together. And then here we are with the greatest challenge, which, in the beginning, we're all talking about, oh, Jim's going to die or whatever. I don't feel like I'm going to die. And here's the bad news for you, Zach, and for you, Kelly. I'm going to let you both know today, you're terminal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We are.
You're going to die. We don't know when or why, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the doctor told me you're terminal. I walked out. I said, well, I was terminal before I went in, so there's no news there.
Yeah.
I also think there's something, my father passed away 20 years ago this year of a massive heart attack in our family kitchen right in front of my mom.
Jeez.
Dropped dead.
Sudden death. That's
sudden death. And for years, that was 20 years ago, and for years, I told Jim that's the way I want to go. Okay. No suffering, just get it done, right? And now when he had, gotten his cancer diagnosis, it's just been so much better because we've had, I don't want to say like the long goodbye.
That's what it is.
But it is. But we've also been able to, as a family, my son, the three of us, we've just gotten so close.
Everything's better. Cancer makes everything better. Cheeseburgers taste better.
And there's nothing left nothing left unsaid.
Yes, nothing left unsaid. I even joked that I would do my own.
We're gonna have a party for him.
I was gonna be at my own funeral and do my own eulogy.
That's awesome.
We're gonna have something before it happens.
You got
with
something
all of
to
our...
say? Well, you can say it to me before I die. So, but yeah, I don't feel like I'm close to dying. I don't even think about it.
Yeah, right on.
So
that's cool. All right. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I got a ton of questions still that are just brewing around in my head that I will be thinking about. But we're going to bump up against our time. Tell us about your book and about how to learn more about what you've got going on and how to support your causes. Yeah.
The book is titled Just Keep Trying, TRI-ING. It'll play on words for triathlon. Yep. And the theme, it goes beyond cancer. Regardless of what you're going through, if you just keep trying, you'll be surprised what you can accomplish. And it's never too late to start doing something. And just because you have a terminal diagnosis doesn't mean you can't live a rich, meaningful, purposeful life. And all those lessons are in the book. And I hope that people are inspired and motivated by it. I know it inspired and motivated me. And I hope it's on Amazon. It's an easy read. It's, not hard to read. But a lot of people that have read it have reviewed it really nicely. And you can follow me on Instagram, Stage 4 2025, the number 4 2025, STAGE 420 2025, and follow me to the Ironman in Kona, October 10th, 2026. The
We'd love
profits from
that.
the book, by the way, go to the Ironman Foundation. I've agreed to attempt to raise $100,000. I'm up to about 25,000. So the profits from the book will go directly to the foundation, and it just feels good to be doing all these things at this point in my life with my beautiful wife.
I love it. Kelly, what do you think? You got some parting words for us? How would you put a tie bow on this?
I would say just keep the faith, stay close to each other, do everything together, and enjoy your time that you have.
If tragedy hasn't come to you
time
yet,
is
be
precious.
thankful, because for most of us, it will eventually.
Yep.
Parents die, things happen, tragedy comes to everybody. Suffering and pain will visit you at some point.
Yep.
So be prepared.
And time is precious, so we've learned that.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I look forward to following your journey to Kona in October. I'm going to make that a priority, and then I'll look forward to checking in with you along the way. Yeah, thanks again.
Thanks for your time, Zach.
Awesome.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
having us on.
Thank you, Jim and Kelly Logan, for coming on to Marriage Therapy Radio, and I hope you'll check out their book. I'm going to, and I will follow Jim's journey to Kona in October. The book's called Just Keep Trying. All the proceeds go to the Ironman Foundation. So thank you for supporting him and the foundation. Thank you for supporting Marriage Therapy Radio. You can do that by leaving a 5-star review on Apple or on Spotify. You can do that by following us on Instagram or following me on Substack. I'm starting to publish there. I've got writing in my veins now. So my Substack is at stuffIwrite.com. I'm grateful for all your support. I'm grateful to you for the time and attention you've put into making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.